Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Tori Jaffa, and I'm the Marketing and Events Officer at Connecting Up. And for those of you who don't know, Connecting Up is the global Australian leader for Giving Tuesday. So we drive and support Giving Tuesday here in Australia. Our webinar today is on 10 tips to boost your fundraising this Giving Tuesday and is presented by Tom Dickson, who is a Customer Success Manager at blackbaud Pacific. blackbaud is also a huge supporter of Giving Tuesday in both here and the US. Now, we'll have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. If you do have a question, though, please feel free to type it in as we go along, but we will read them at the end. I'll now hand it over to Tom. All yours, Tom.
Hi everybody, and welcome to our Giving Tuesday webinar for 2015. As Tori mentioned, my name's Tom Dickson, and I'll be sharing my top 10 tips to really boost your fundraising efforts this Giving Tuesday. For anyone who's joining us from Sydney, we do apologise for the weather. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. And for anyone who's joining us from New Zealand, I still haven't quite forgiven you for the World Cup on Saturday, but I'm hoping I'll be able to get past that soon. So firstly, before we get into our tips so far, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background into Giving Tuesday. Now, some of you on the line, you might be familiar with the concept, whilst others not so much. So basically, Giving Tuesday is a day that's huge in terms of donations in the US and has grown quite significantly within Australia and New Zealand since its beginnings in 2012. Giving Tuesday, we can really remember the importance of giving right at the start of the holiday period and give to those a lot less fortunate than us, and really make the holiday period one to enjoy for everyone. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me when I say that the holiday period can be a real time for indulgence with, barbecues and Christmas parties galore, as well as giving and receiving wonderful presents from those we love. And while it's absolutely amazing to be able to do all this, it's really important to remember that there are a lot of people out there, who are a lot less fortunate than us. And then they're not able to partake in the celebrations or afford to buy presents for their loved ones or their kids. So it's really about making the holiday period, an enjoyable time for everyone, and giving generously to those who are really in need. Now, before we jump into our tips to maximize our fundraising, I thought I'd first share with you some really important statistics around donations from Giving Tuesday that has occurred over the last couple of years. So one thing I think is really, a really important stat to note is that through online donations last year during Giving Tuesdays, all organisations that received online gifts had gifts of that $100 level or even more than that. Since its beginnings in 2012, Giving Tuesday has had double-digit year-over-year growth. And last year in the US alone, $45.7 million was raised both offline and online on Giving Tuesday. That was across 5,000 unique non-profit organisations, and that was a massive 63% increase on the year before. So that's the sort of impact that Giving Tuesday can have on your organisation's year-end fundraising revenue. As I'm sure you probably guessed, Giving Tuesday occurs on a Tuesday. It happens on the first Tuesday of December each year. This year that happens to be the 1st of December. So we're currently sitting, just under a month out. So it's a good time to start really prepping and getting ready to get ready for Giving Tuesday. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our top 10 tips to really boost your fundraising efforts this Giving Tuesday. So the first one, which I'm sure is not a shock to anyone, it's really about using your social media strategy well. These days, it really seems impossible to not mention social media when it comes to a marketing or fundraising strategy. So I'm sure there's no one listening in today who's too surprised that this would make it onto our list, let alone the top of our list. Whilst you're all, definitely aware of social media, what I think is really important and what I really wanted to emphasize today during this webinar is that we're using social media to its full potential, particularly when it comes to Giving Tuesday, because it is a really great social media event. Obviously I'm part of that Gen Y category, so definitely put myself in the avid social media addict sort of section there. But what I find with a lot of not-for-profits and even businesses when they are doing advertising on social media is that I find they use social media as a place to share their message and really have a one-way conversation with our donors and our supporters. And that really takes away the social aspect out of social media. What I love to see, when not-for-profits try to engage and encourage us to allow their social media team to be a platform where supporters to not only join in the conversation, but really start their own conversation as well. What I'd really encourage you guys to do is encourage your donors to upload photos, really share their stories. Obviously, the GivingTuesday hashtag is a great medium for that. Last year alone, there were 700,000 tweets with the GivingTuesday hashtag, as well as a couple 100,000 with the hashtag #unselfie on Instagram. So it really is a really powerful tool. Another great way is encourage your donors not only to do the GivingTuesday hashtag, but to tag your organization in their posts as well. For anyone that's got a really compelling story or is really smashing some of their fundraising targets, share their stories on social media. Let their friends see the massive impact that they're having and really share their story with the world. Donors love to know that they're being heard. They love to know that they're making an impact. So to really include them in your messaging is awesome. And it's a really great way to keep people involved and let them know that they are appreciated, which of course will guarantee you sort of continued support as well. Some key stats that I found in regards to social media is what I found is that 55% of those who engage with not-for-profits via social media have been inspired to take further action. Of that 55%, 59% will actually donate money, 52% will volunteer, and a further 15% will organise an event within their local community. Some stats specific to GivingTuesday is that last year, Facebook referred 29.4% of all traffic to donation pages on GivingTuesday, which again, that's quite a huge amount. You can imagine all the traffic that Facebook's receiving. So that 29% is quite huge. The next point I wanted to touch on is the importance of going mobile. Again, I'm sure this is not going to be something that's surprising to a lot of people. We've all heard how important going mobile is for our marketing and fundraising strategies. So again, I won't spend too much time, bogging you down with the details. But there are some key points I really did want to touch on with mobile web browsing. So in 2013 and 2014, mobile web browsing actually overtook desktop web browsing for the first time. That really shows a real shift in the way that our donors now supporters and people are viewing us today. I really wanted to highlight some stats on how much impact this is actually having. So last year, so you might have remembered at the top of the webinar, I mentioned that $45.7 million was raised in the US on GivingTuesday. Of that $45.7 million, 17% actually came through mobile devices, with the online average gift being $128. So that's a fairly significant amount there. Through research as well, we've found that donors are 34% more likely to donate on mobile responsive websites. As well, just to highlight the growth of mobile donations on GivingTuesday, in 2014, mobile giving increased by 101% over 2013 statistics. Even further than that, a massive 19.8% of not-for-profit event registrations actually occur through mobile devices. So as you can see there, there's a high level of online activity that's occurring through online referrals and things like that. And with the growth of mobile devices and mobile web browsing, it's absolutely crucial that your organization follows the trend and joins the mobile revolution. Modern donors have, obviously changed the way that they donate and they view us and visit our pages. So it's really time we joined them in the mobile future. Moving on, our next key tip, and again, I'm sure this is not one that comes as a surprise, but is actually contacting and getting in contact with our past donors and encouraging support. I'm sure we all know that it's obviously a lot cheaper and a lot easier to encourage repeat support from those who have supported us in the past than it is actually to go out and recruit new donors and supporters. So if we're using a decent CRM platform, we can actually see what campaigns, funds, and appeals that our supporters have supported us with in the past, and we can also see exactly what their giving capacity is. So we can really target and segment our communications, which is going to go a long way in guaranteeing repeat support. A good way to do this is really communicate with the message. Again, we're going to touch on what some of that messaging should be when reaching out to both new and existing supporters. But first and foremost, you really want to let them know what GivingTuesday is and how they can be involved, as well as letting them know about the social media events and how they can participate. It's also not a bad idea to ask them to set up an Everyday Hero donation page and start collecting donations from your not-for-profit organization. So we're going to go through a few tips around messaging on how to reach out to these past donors as well as new ones. So the first tip that I would definitely recommend is sending out a weekly email. And in that email, we really want to send out tips about how they can get involved in and what various activities they can do to really increase their fundraising. So my thinking behind this is that we really want to make it easy for our supporters to get involved. We want to take away a lot of their guesswork and a lot of their hard work. We really want to do the hard yards for them and really give them a clear vision on exactly how they can get involved. Otherwise, it's more than likely they might put the idea of helping out in the too hard basket. So by actually giving them a list of things they can do and a lot of strategies they can get involved with, we're really going to increase the likelihood of them gearing up and getting involved for us. So currently we're sitting, as I mentioned earlier, about 1 month out from GivingTuesday, and now's the perfect time to start reaching out to your supporters with tips and ideas about how they can get involved. It might simply be by giving us a donation. Again, we'll segment exactly, through your CRM system, you can segment exactly what their giving capabilities are, whether they fall in that major giver category, or where it's more likely to be a $50 to $100 gift. Again, perhaps if they're not in a position to give financially, we can always encourage, organising events or volunteering their times as well. Sending out these tip sheets as well as a weekly follow-up email is a fantastic and effective way to really get people motivated and involved. And as we mentioned earlier, it really takes a lot of the guesswork and hard work out for our donors so they can really jump on board and get involved as easily as possible. It's also a great idea through these emails to really encourage people to get their friends and family involved, really create a sort of team fundraising environment amongst these people. I mean, obviously this has the impact of gaining more supporters and a likelihood of increasing fundraising, but it also makes your current donors that you do have more accountable for their actions. Obviously, if there are more people involved in their fundraising team, they're more likely to not want to not only let your organisation down, but their friends and family as well. Another key part is that a lot of organisations on GivingTuesday will actually use peer-to-peer fundraising as part of their GivingTuesday strategy, which is a fantastic way to get people involved. But it can also be a little scary because a lot of your success does depend on the success of your fundraisers. And this can obviously make it feel like the work is out of your hands. So the information that we are giving to our fundraisers and our supporters can make a huge impact in the way that we're getting help here. My recommendation is put together a fundraising tips page that you can easily share with your community, whether it be by email or even by letter, or even if it's just a link attached to your email as well. It's a fantastic way to get people involved, and as I said, it takes away a lot of that guesswork and hard work for getting people involved as well. For any fundraisers that we do have, we're relying on that principle of taking away some of that guesswork and the hard work for our supporters. What I definitely recommend, and something that I've seen used quite successfully amongst other charities and not-for-profits in my time here, is you really want to help your fundraisers set their fundraising targets, and then you want to take it a step further and celebrate the success of your fundraisers and your success as well. So much like we talked about with our last slide, it's mainly about taking that hard work and that guesswork out for our supporters and making them supporting our cause as easy as possible. A great way of doing this, obviously suggesting and helping our supporters set achievable fundraising goals. Whether this be for peer-to-peer fundraising or organising a group event and setting a target for what that event should raise. Once we have set them up with goals, there's two things I would really recommend doing. One is just continually encourage them along the way. Let them know how close they're getting to their goals. Once they reach that milestone of 50%, 75%, shoot them an email saying congratulations, a little bit more to go, but you've done an amazing effort so far. And two, once they do reach those milestones, really celebrate their success. We all need a little positive reinforcement from time to time, so acknowledging and celebrating the important milestones and accomplishments in your campaign, it really encourages your community to keep working towards those goals, and it's an awesome way to make everyone feel connected as well. Again, it kind of touches on what we just talked about in terms of setting goals and celebrating success, but we want to stay in touch and communicate with our supporters along the way, whether that be on a weekly or fortnightly basis. You definitely want to update your donors exactly where you're currently sitting with their campaign. And also, obviously when it's all over, but also along the way, we want to keep them up to date with what our results are doing so far. Again, you can highlight incremental sort of wins along the way just to keep spirits high. This is also, we touched on it earlier when we talked about social media, but we can also integrate this step with our social media strategy. So we can share stories and milestones for any of our supporters who've have really smashed their targets along the way, just to let them know, how much we appreciate them. This also has the impact of keeping community focused. It's not a bad idea as well. We talked about an overall fundraising goal, but even to break it down in a week-by-week basis, this has the effect of making your appeals more urgent. It also gives you a chance to celebrate new milestones every week. And I think we'll all agree, everyone loves celebrating and everyone loves being made a big deal out of. So it is a fantastic way to keep everyone involved and excited. As well, there are some resources, much like our tip sheets, that we can provide our supporters with to make this a little bit easier along the way. So a lot of those resources include things like digital starter packs for anyone who's hosting a big event or getting their workplace involved in things like that. We can send out merchandise with our branding, for example, shirts and caps. We can also share images and logos that can be used for social media or email marketing collateral. Share some YouTube videos. And then as well, it'd be a good idea to send some information about your charity so that they can share on the Everyday Hero fundraising page. So what I wanted to talk about with this tip, number 7, communicate the purpose, is not only to talk about the purpose of our organisation or our charity, but the messaging behind Giving Tuesday. I spoke about it at the top of the webinar, but I think Giving Tuesday has a wonderful message, and it's something that should certainly be included across all messaging. We talked about it from the beginning, but the holiday period is an amazing time of the year, and it's personally my favourite time of the year. I do a lot of eating, a lot of opening presents. I'm not ashamed to admit that I put on about 4 or 5 kilos every December every year, much to the dismay of everyone around me. But Giving Tuesday is really a global day of giving, and it kickstarts the season of giving. It's an opportunity to boost your holiday fundraising efforts and engage on a personal level with all your existing supporters, as well as getting new supporters involved. And we can do this through increasing awareness through social media. So we talked about at the start, obviously the messaging behind Giving Tuesday, but the importance of the power of the hashtag of Giving Tuesday. Like we said earlier, there were 700,000 tweets with the Giving Tuesday hashtag, which is fantastic. I think last year they even got it trending as part of one of the top trending tweets for the day. So there's a lot of reach there. Moving on to our next slide. Encourage people to get their workplace involved, with workplace giving or whether it be setting up a workplace event. We here at Blackbaud, we have an event we're all pretty excited about. So this is a suggestion that you could do at your workplace. Is we're actually having sort of like an all-day talent show. So we have 16 very generous volunteers who are breaking the day down at half an hour at a time, doing something sort of fun or silly, or if they are indeed talented, something of talent for a good half an hour, and we're all sort of individually giving donations to the charity of their choice. Of course, you can then set each individual person a milestone where they might even have to do something a little bit sillier, just to really encourage workplace giving. Obviously this is a great way to get everyone involved. Another idea, not necessarily, rather than sort of doing a fundraising event at the workplace, you can also encourage your workplace to go out and do a big day of volunteering, which is fantastic. Again, last year we did this as well. We went out and helped develop some areas for Habitat for Humanity. So it is a fantastic way to get the workplace involved and really inspire some team building events. All right, moving on to number 9 in our top 10 tips to kickstart our Christmas appeal. For Giving Tuesday is to kickstart your Christmas appeal. I'm sure you guys are all aware that December is by far the most generous month of the year, but I was quite surprised just by how much. So 30% of all donations and giving actually occurs through December, with December 31st being the most generous day of the year. Giving Tuesday is a fantastic way to kick off this Christmas appeal and really make sure people are prepared to give generously this silly season. And finally, moving on to our final step for really maximising our fundraising efforts this Giving Tuesday. It really comes down to thanking your donors and thanking your fundraisers and everyone who's gone in support, who's supported us throughout this journey. We touched on earlier the importance of celebrating our big wins throughout our campaigns. So what we really want to do with our thank yous is really let our donors know just how much they're appreciated. we want them to, we really want to highlight exactly where all of their donations have gone and the impact that they have had for our organisation today. Again, this goes a long way in terms of guaranteeing repeat success. We talked about sort of right at the top of the webinar how important sort of repeat donors are and how important it is to have continued support from our previous donors. So a solid thank you, and really assessing how much impact we've all made, it goes a long way in guaranteeing that sort of repeat success for us. So it's definitely a huge benefit to have by letting our donors know exactly how hard they've worked and that we appreciate them. All right, guys, so that's kind of it in terms of our sort of 10 tips that I wanted to cover on today. I believe we do have a Q&A session prepared now, and myself and Tori will be taking some of your questions.
Awesome. So we do have a couple of questions here from Ken. He asks, can you explain CRM platforms and some specific brands and models?
Yeah, absolutely. So we here at Blackbaud, we actually specialize in CRM systems and CRM platforms. So the example that we have today, that's the area that I work across, is Razor's Edge NXT. And this is a cloud-based platform that basically allows you to access your donors' records and your donors' giving histories, as well as any actions that we do have from anywhere, from any device anywhere in the world. It's a great way basically to keep on top of your donors' giving history, have a record of what their interests are, what campaigns and appeals they have responded to in the past. It's really a great way to build those relationships, as well as encourage repeat support. Certain platforms like Razor's Edge NXT will actually prompt you, if you have received a donation or if somebody has registered for an event, it'll actually prompt you to get in contact and send a thank you as well. So it really is just a great way of building those relationships, and it's a CRM system, a good CRM system and a good CRM platform is something I would highly recommend for all not-for-profit organizations.
Awesome. And Ken also asks, do you have templates for weekly emails?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as part of the Razor's Edge NXT platform that we offer here, we do have an email building tool, which is a simple drop and drag system where you can have pre-saved and pre-made templates where you simply just edit your messaging. Again, there are a number of these things out there on the market today. Razor's Edge NXT is an area that I'm an expert in. But yeah, there are certainly those email templates out there today. If anyone does, if anyone would like to see a demonstration or some more information about any CRM platforms, I'll shoot across my details afterwards. More than happy to talk about that in explicit detail.
And just on that as well, the GivingTuesday website also has toolkits with some outreach emails and communication tools for GivingTuesday for people to use. So if you head over to the givingtuesday.org.au website and click on toolkits, you should be able to find a lot of resources there as well. And so what would be included in a digital starter pack?
So things that you might want to include in a digital starter pack, I guess we kind of touched on previous points, but just things about tips in terms of getting involved, some of that merchandise, and just I guess messaging that you would like your supporters and your donors to pass on when they are looking to raise money, as well as a social media guide about how they can really get involved with their social media sharings and things like that. We mentioned the hashtags of GivingTuesday and selfie. So I guess it's really a hot tip list basically of how they can share your message and the message of GivingTuesday.
And we've got a question here from Jan. She says 30% of donations in December 31st, December's biggest day. Is there a difference between northern and southern hemispheres?
That's an area I might have to look into in a little bit more detail. Unless, Tori, are you able to shed some light on that one?
I'm actually not sure what the difference is. I know what GivingTuesday has raised, the percentage they've increased each year on GivingTuesday for donations, but not for the 31st of December. But I can just share with you, on the first year, 2012, giving increased by 53%, and then in 2013 it increased by 90%, and back to 63% in 2014. So it has been growing year by year. And with what you were saying with social media as well, is we've had 15.4 billion social media impressions on the Giving Tuesday hashtag to date. So that's, if you are looking to go on social media, and you are just an Australian company, you will get a global campaign if you use the Giving Tuesday hashtag. So that's something also to think about as well. So we've got no more questions. I'll just give everyone, half a minute to just think of any last questions. Just for CRM databases as well, I know Connecting Up has a couple. We've got Blackbaud eTapestry, which I think is a little bit bigger than the one you've been talking about, Tom. But we've got that one there, and we've also got Little Green Light as well. So if you're looking for CRM systems, then also have a look at Connecting Up as well.
Sorry, and if I can just jump in there. eTapestry is more for our sort of smaller, not-for-profits, while Razor's Edge NXT is more for that sort of medium to large size. Again, that's what I meant.
There you go. So, Tom, are you able to share just your contact details with everyone as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you want me to send it via email, or should I start sort of spelling them out now? Or
yes, please.
Yeah, sure. So you can contact me via email at tom.dickson, that's D-I-C-K, at blackbaud, blackbaud.com.au. And so that's tom.dickson at blackbaud.com.au. And you can reach me on my direct line on 02 8918 1268. Again, that's 02 8918 1268.
Thanks, Tom. And when we send out the recording, we'll also include that information there. So if anyone didn't get that, that's all good. We will send it out. We've just got one last question here from Alison. She says, we're a very small charity. Do we need to have a CRM system to participate in Giving Tuesday? On that side of things, you don't at all. And she also says, or can we do this through social media? I'll let you answer this, Tom, just for any other smaller organisations. You obviously, it's not a requirement, if that's the side you're going at, to participate in Giving Tuesday to have a CRM system. But obviously, Tom, if you've got any other pointers for small organisations who don't have one, let me know.
Yeah, and by all means, as Tori mentioned, you by no means have to have a CRM system to have a successful fundraising campaign. I will say that it definitely helps. It definitely helps in terms of fundraising growth and guaranteeing that sort of repeat success and being able to segment and target campaigns down the track. And it certainly is a fantastic tool. Something like eTapestry would work well for a small organisation, but as Tori mentioned, there's a lot of other fantastic ways you can get involved. Social media is always a huge one, especially for Giving Tuesday. It really is probably the most successful social media sort of giving day, I think, throughout history. I know social media's got a short history, but Giving Tuesday is really somewhat of a social media phenomenon when it comes to those sort of things. But yeah, by all means, you can launch very successful campaigns, through manually sort of sorting through emails, sharing your message via social media, and getting in contact with your supporters in the way that you're doing so today. The CRM platforms such as eTapestry or Razor's Edge certainly takes away a lot of that guesswork and goes a long way in building relationships, but by no means do you definitely need a CRM system to get involved.
Awesome. Well, there's no more questions that have come through. So thank you, everyone, for participating today. And thank you so much, Tom, for presenting today. There's some really, really good tips there. And, no matter how big or small your campaign ends up being, it's just great that we have everyone participating in Giving Tuesday. So you don't have to, pull all your resources together for Giving Tuesday. It's whatever you guys want to do, whatever you feel passionate about, and whatever you believe in. So, you guys know better than me that if there's a connection with an organization, with a cause, there's going to be a lot more likely people, donating to it. So I wish you all the luck. If you've got any questions at all, feel free to contact Tom and me, and we'll both be putting our emails into the recording email after the webinar. Other than that, though, we don't forget to check the website, newsletters, and Facebook and Twitter for any more upcoming events. But have a lovely rest of the day.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Tori. And thanks again, everyone who joined in.
Bye.